Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and a link in the info box below the video once it's rendered. But most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. There are a couple of rules, however. Number one, if you join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show, as sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, and this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. We are joined by Spurs Chemo and Arwin. How are you both doing, gentlemen?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How you doing, Arwin? How you doing, Nathan?
Oh, not too bad at all. If it's okay by both of you, I'm just going to pop a video on that I watched live last night for the first time. So Stephen Chess did a little live stream about PewDiePie, and I'm going to play you out his comments to open the show.
How's it going, bros? This video is about PewDiePie and why he knows that the Earth is not a ball. No. Why he knows that the Earth is flat. Let me start by saying that PewDiePie is not as stupid as he portrays himself to be in these videos to entertain his audience. When you dig into his videos, you will realize that he is a smart person. Set aside the fact that he has more subs than any other channel, and look at what he does. He makes thousands of dollars a day off each new video that he makes by entertaining people with a bunch of junk on the internet, which is something anyone could do, but nobody has his level of success. At first glance, it does all seem like trash, but he does a wide variety of things, from a book club video, to commentaries on political subjects, to introductions to Photoshop editing for thumbnails. Every video he does is designed to catch and hold the attention of his viewers, from the title to the editing and the thumbnail. I know flat earthers won't like this, but he has to use the most cringeworthy people at the convention in order to entertain his audience. Everyone at the convention was an awesome person, but it is easy for the media outlets to nitpick funny things that people said over the course of 2 days. That said, put yourself in Felix's place. He would have a great backlash if he genuinely supported Flat Earth. Remember what Jaren from Jarenism said about sharing Flat Earth videos. Share them and make fun of them. That is the way for people such as Felix and Stefan, for that matter, to share the message. Just as many other giant channels do, he used self-deprecation to make terrible bald earth arguments while sharing decent flat earth knowledge. I could not ask for a better introduction. The dim will laugh at the jokes, and the smart few will realize how terrible his arguments for the globe were. They will go off and look for proof for the globe, and if they are true to themselves, they will find only flat earth proof. So thank you, Felix, and thank you everyone for being here. Take care. Peace.
There you go, you only got audio in the Hangout. That was Stephen Chess's take, so hence the title of today's video. PewDiePie is a genius. And I frankly agree with him. I'm sure I echoed his sentiments in terms of how he explained Jaren. I remember this a good 3 years ago now. I'm saying, look, share my video on Facebook and just say something like, look at these idiots. You know, if you're embarrassed to say that you're interested or into the subject or investigating it yourself, just ridicule it when you share it, because that will ultimately open the door to whoever you share it to. And Stephen is essentially saying the same thing with PewDiePie. He's saying that's the easiest, most logical route in without him having his own arse handed to him by his fans, which is perhaps what would happen if he was to come out and say, I think the Earth is flat.
Oh, definitely. I agree to that. Oh, I'm echoing. Are you hearing that too?
No. Seems all good
Okay.
this end. What's your take on it, Spurs? Can you hear us? Not.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. The Ballers again thought they saw another victory here with being ridiculed, but of course, with all those people, they're not going to just instantly think this is a joke. They're going to look into it for themselves to prove the globe model, which in turn, as he said, they will find flat Earth proof. So yeah, it's a very good way of going about the flat Earth.
On another note, though, it is a double-edged sword and could be interpreted in many ways. Well, as I explained yesterday, it could just be a stunt to get more views because he just wants that. And he is raking in the cash, like with substantial amounts of viewers. So that could be a thing. And yeah, if you take that concept into account, just ridiculing flat earthers in a really stupid way to bring out the message, well, I have to say that NASA is doing a pretty damn good job at sharing the flat earth truth. Because, yeah, we've all been witnessing all these ridiculous mistakes and obvious falsehoods that they've been doing, and especially the ridiculous science fiction stories that are just way out there that don't really help give a sense of legitimacy to them at all. So, is that really the case? Like, yeah, it's a double-edged sword. You can interpret it both ways.
Well, not really. I mean, it's only gonna put the word out there, which is what flat earthers want everybody to come to it. And as soon as these people have probably never even heard of flat Earth. Hey, Anthony.
Yeah, that is definitely the case. As in a direct exposure sense, just hearing the words flat Earth does already at least wake the flame a little bit and gives you the opportunity to be curious about it and then search for something.
Because as we've seen already, ego comes into this. So you've seen the likes of Rumpus, day after day, trying to prove that he's correct. It's all about that he's right.
100% right. Remember, get it right. He's 100% right, and everybody else is 100% wrong.
So what PewDiePie has done essentially has told people that there are other people who believe in the flat Earth, and therefore we'll see, like I said, people with egos determined to prove that they're wrong. So that will bring a wider audience of egotistical people who think that they can prove something they have never seen.
Yeah, good point. That could also just bring in more hordes of ballers, really, that are just really freaking stubborn and never learn. But yeah, among those may also be a couple of people that may actually grow up and learn. So yeah,
you could be right in some sense, double-edged sword in the sense that, let's say, for example, you had 100 rumpuses.
Oh God.
Well, there you go.
No.
Then they are simply here just to try and prove that they're right, and they're not going to try and listen to, a persuasive argument or evidence.
Test.
Hey, back, Anthony. Welcome.
Oh God, can you imagine hundreds of rumpuses all repeating themselves every half a second, all of them at the same time? It's gonna be.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
I can see you and hear you.
It's okay. I was just making sure because I've had a new version. I've put a fresh version of Windows on a brand new hard drive, and it's literally the first time I've used it. So I just wanted to make sure that you could hear me and didn't kick me.
Yeah, you came in, then you left. We saw you.
Yeah, but I knew I was going to get kicked because I couldn't speak at the time.
I don't think it links out. Is the link out? I don't know.
Not yet, no. I'm going to be sticking out in a minute or two.
Yeah, I'm just getting on the back door now, so give me a second.
But I think what we're going to see, flat Earth prediction-wise, we're going to see more of the leading YouTubers jumping on this simply because of money. So the double-edged sword is going to be people complaining about people making money. Yes, that's going to happen, but exposure at the same time, I think that's more important. So I think we're going to see a lot of copycats. PewDiePie, however you pronounce his name, PewDiePie. He's the biggest YouTuber. He started the trend now that you can, speak about flat Earth. He's set the pace here now. We're going to see numerous YouTubers following the same fashion that I think.
Well,
Anyway.
it's funny that you say that, but that's already been going on for at least a year. Like, I follow a lot of non-flat Earth stuff as well, like more liberal sources, movie reviewers, game reviewers, that I've been following for over a decade. And I've noticed very distinctly that almost every single channel, every single person has at one point made a very obvious flat Earth joke, some even multiple. They suddenly just started doing that because it is trending. And yeah, that's already been happening. It's just that PewDiePie is the big guy. He is the biggest. So it reached a crescendo, I think it's called. So, but yeah, that this trend may continue indeed, and we could maybe see celebrities starting to talk about it more and more.
It would be interesting to hear a baller's perspective if they think the ridicule worked. Like, he did a good job, or.
Well, obviously the ridicule didn't work because look at Beeloo. He's our favourite fan at the moment. They tried to use Beeloo to ridicule us, but we all liked Beeloo, so Beeloo didn't work. So that attempt at ridicule didn't work at all. We embraced it, laughed at it, and enjoyed it. It was funny.
I saw another YouTuber called Engineering Explained, who also covered Flat Earth on April Fools, but he did a very similar presentation to PewDiePie in the respect that he kind of. Hi, Mark. Can you hear us? Mark, can you say hello?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Good to have you, Mark.
Sorry. I'm sorry, Mark. It was my fault, that. I'm sorry, it was me.
Sorry, you got be a bit quicker speaking, Mark. Really sorry. Booted you too quickly. But yeah, Engineering Explained covered it in a very similar way, which was to say that he put forward some pretty poor globe Earth arguments, and he did it in a debate format with himself. Now, this is I'm not going to say he's a very serious guy. He does have a sense of humour, but he's covering in-depth engineering topics, and he isn't the type of guy you would expect to cover Flat Earth, not in the slightest. So when he did, I was really shocked. I'm sure I sent a link to a few people and said, please thumb up my comment. But he was one where I'd been, for quite a while, been spamming him. Not spamming him, but I'd comment on the video related to the actual topic, leave 4 spaces, a few carriage returns, and then write the Earth is flat, or the Earth is not a globe, or the globe is a light, whatever, so that you don't actually get it unless you press read more. There's just a gap of white, so it looks like a big comment. There's a big gap, and if you click read more, it's then got your little hook. But seeing him covering it really brought a smile to my face, even though he was ridiculing it and saying how silly it is.
Yeah, let me just address that message in chat from Typo Brahi. He says, you are being ridiculed. Beeloo made you renounce the Convex Earth documentary, lol. Well,
I didn't renounce it.
That's not my position.
I haven't renounced it in the slightest. Sorry, I'll just make that clear. My position in terms of that has not changed in the slightest as a result of Beeloo. The information just needs to be validated, verified, checked, seen for a start, and then we can make a judgment on it. So, the people who are quick to judgment and say it was brilliant and that they endorsed it fully and then retracted their support of it, that's not us. We were a lot more tentative about our support, and we did offer it some support. And Beeloo, yeah, we saw it as comical. Arwen's explanation I actually think is the most accurate, which is to say that in that part of the world, aliens are a part of the culture. They're a lot more easy to digest and accept in their pop culture than in ours. So there's a plausible reason why it would be there. Regardless of whether or not he's a charlatan, it's the information that matters. Yes, it's bad that somebody with lesser credibility is offering this information. Usually I'd be all for fighting the corner of having more credible people so that things like this don't happen. But it still doesn't change the data, and we haven't seen it yet. So I'm not renouncing it. I hope no one else is.
No, I agree. My view on it was they made some mistakes initially. Other people picked up on further mistakes. It looked, based on the mistakes and the mistakes to fact that they were there, it made it look wishy-washy at best. It could be argued to be deception and dishonest. However, nobody can prove the guilty mind of the intent. So until there is an explanation, which I'm sure is coming on the Globebusters show this evening or tomorrow evening, there is no intent to be proved by anybody. It's quite possible that the 14 kilometers was accidentally put as 14 instead of 1.4 kilometers because somebody didn't put a dot in the right place when it was being when the videographer was putting it together. The videographer, I'm pretty sure, was not the same person or the same people that was doing the experiments. It might be the case that they might be. Who knows? But until there's a chance for them to put their position forward, we just don't know what their intents were. And I'm sure it's going to come clear on Sunday. And if it turns out that they were charlatans, I'm pretty sure Bob and Jaron will be able to eke that out of them. And then at that point, we will then probably laugh at them as well. But at the moment, I think they deserve a chance to speak, because for everybody to denounce it based on, at best, dodgy videography doesn't justify or doesn't mean that it's being denounced fairly. They deserve a right to respond, and they're getting it on Sunday on Globebusters. And I want to hear how they deal with the Beelu thing, because I think it was satire. It may be the case that they were alien hunting or whatever, like Arwin suggests, but for me, it's satire unless they say otherwise. But I'd like to hear what they say before denouncing it completely.
Hey, Tim, how you doing?
Hey.
Yeah, I just realized now that Beelu is probably now currently the most famous alien since E.T.
But again, this could be considered the same thing as what PewDiePie did. Again, it feels like this is personally for the select flat earthers in this arena, but there are outsiders who will watch this and they'll say, he's talking about flat earth and aliens. And again, people will
Haunted House, how you doing?
they're using the words flat earth.
Haunted House.
Hello
guys.
Hello,
Hey, man.
Hello, one.
So again, people jumping on the bandwagon. It just seems ballers are looking for any excuse to discredit. They seem to want to put flat Earth away, and that is not going to happen. So
Yeah, that's fine. Flat Earth will stay. Doesn't mean that it's true. But I would like to say, in that video, is there any actual hard evidence or hard proof
Nope.
of anything? Like
Nope.
if Ballers came out and just had a bunch of scenes and said, "Oh, that proves it. Oh, that proves it,"
Yeah, they do
you
that.
guys would not.
Timmy, before
Yeah,
you get
there's
into
nothing.
that, how you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, man?
I just wanted to say something about the PewDiePie thing before we get into the flat Earth competition.
That's fine, but I'll just answer him so hopefully, no, there was no hard evidence.
Okay,
Yeah, there
thanks.
wasn't. It was a shit documentary. Did probably hurt flat Earth more than it did any good. In case somebody looks at it that didn't watch.
No, I didn't
that
have
isn't into
flat Earth.
Globebuster.
Only a convex Earth, right?
I think it's just compiled crappy. I watch a lot of movies, man. A lot of movies, and that for some reason it could not hold me for 10 minutes.
Yeah,
What
You
is
wanted
it
to come
about
off
this?
topic though, so if
as
you
a
want to go back
movie,
on,
it kind of sucked.
if you want to go back on PewDiePie, I'd be more than willing.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, comedy is the strongest weapon. When you associate two subject matters, if you can give if you can inform socially, which is what entertainment at its purest is, to be socially informed. He did that, and when he makes people laugh, his style of comedy kind of reminds me of Andy Kaufman, meaning he's always going to be on, because his on is his off, and it's the same mix. You don't know when he's doing his shtick and when he's normal. He's also making, on an average, it's at $500 an hour, and I don't know if that's the sensationalism of just him being who he is, because at this point, he's got the most subscribers, and by the merits of that, people are going to say, well, I gotta listen. If he's number one, then I've got to check him out. But I think he kept it exactly where it needed to be. Not too much in favor, but let the idiocy of flat Earth, in other words, his examples, let that speak for itself. However, it shows that he does need it. He needs it right now. He needs that flat Earth.
Hello,
To stay relevant.
and Stephen Curtis, how you both doing?
Really? He needs flat Earth to stay relevant.
A few new
Haunted?
guests. Sorry, Tim.
A lot of
I
guests.
think so.
A lot of new
Say hello
guests.
to all of
Well, hold
our-
on, that might be a mistake.
Hold
to
on.
say.
Sorry to interrupt. Hi, Ariv, Kater, and Hannah. How you all doing?
That would imply
He
he's
makes like
relevant.
26 million a year, dude.
Oof.
You got to be kidding me.
It's
Yeah,
a
but
shame.
maybe
it's a shame that people.
he
that
did
that
it
many
to
people are
stay
into him.
relevant, to stay trending, because it is trending. Flat Earth is trending, whether you like it or not.
I mean, Timmy, you're here.
Just thought, like, I don't want to
Hold on,
be
Arwen.
that
Arwen,
guy
hold
that
on.
didn't mention it.
Guys, I know you're really into the conversation, but we've just got to say hello to new people, that's all. Hi, P, how you doing? No, maybe it's not P.
Nope.
By what metric is Flat Earth trending, guys?
PMars? You're going to allow PMars to come on?
#2. His videos.
What do you think
#2
about
trending
PMars,
now,
Timmy?
right now? That's trending. Number 2 is trending, and it's got Flat Earth in the title.
It's trending because he has like millions of subscribers. He could put out a video of him like in the backyard, and it would get millions of views.
There's another
But he's put out a video about Flat Earth.
trending in that sense.
Tim, how would someone like PewDiePie even hear about Flat Earth? If he's doing his thing, how would he even come across Flat Earth?
Because everybody is starting to hear about Flat Earth one way or another.
Exactly.
And that doesn't.
That's the
It's
point.
not. It doesn't matter. You guys think that it's like positive for you?
No.
It's not.
It's
People
not
are
about
hearing it.
hearing about it.
I
It's
forgot I was
about
talking.
not wanting
Arwen.
to be that one person that
Arwen,
didn't talk about it.
Listen.
That
Everybody's hearing
identifying
about
with
it, like-
not being a NASA shill.
You done?
Make mention of it.
Can I speak?
Yeah,
Great.
you can speak.
Thank you. So anyway, people are hearing about it, like Fox News talking about the rocket. I mean, I hear everybody talking about that. And what do they scoff? There's not a bunch of flat earthers walking around. It's just it's in the public consciousness. That's the whole point of this thing. Is to put it in the public consciousness, and the public consciousness is saying it's a joke. Not many more flat earthers are showing up to be like, oh, it's the truth, let's spread it. It's not what
Timmy,
you guys think it is.
What's your point, though? What's
It's a romantic idea.
Yeah, guess what? Like a couple of years ago, concept of
it?
fake news was brought into the public attention. And guess what? These fake news people are now promoting NASA and avoiding flat Earth. So I guess it's something.
These people, man, I've given up on like worrying about anything other than what's in front of my face. You know, we're the elite. We're the right here, the people in this hangout, people listening to it. We're the elite. Why give anyone any credit, undue credit?
Just because you say you're the elite,
credit.
just because you say the Earth is flat, doesn't make it so. It
doesn't matter.
It's
It doesn't
more
matter.
romanticism.
No,
It doesn't matter. I don't need to
Tim,
quantify.
sorry,
I
hold
don't
on.
need to quantify.
This is the
It's the
point.
idea.
He's saying that we're the elite. This is the point. Because of this very argument that we're having now, people like PewDiePie are doing what they're doing. This is stemmed from when we were doing this 4 or 5 years ago. This hasn't come out of the blue. This is the point. So someone else now will hear PewDiePie, and the debate will rage on. That's the point. Yes.
This hasn't gone anywhere. You got to admit that. You got to be honest with yourself and say this flat Earth thing has gotten nothing but more. It's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. You know, more people, more videos every day, every hour. There's at least 20 videos uploaded to YouTube.
What does that mean, man? What does that
That means
mean?
there's a lot of people. There's a lot of traffic. I know it doesn't mean anything intellectually. It's just the stupid internet, and half the videos are shit and re-uploads anyway.
It's grabbing people's attention. That's what it means.
Yeah,
You guys live in a fantasy world of people like Dells, where you think
what's that to you, though?
having
But what's
more
that to
numbers
you?
means
Well, Timothy,
anything.
we can say the same thing exactly about you.
But honestly, though, what's it
Okay.
about you? What's it about this subject that you can't get away from?
Because I know a lot of people.
Something there.
I don't really even like to talk about it that much
Well, if
anymore. I
you
don't even make
something
videos
there,
that
You
much.
know
There's
you're
something
right and
there.
we're wrong, then why don't you just leave it? Because there's a lot of people
As
out
I
there
just
that
said.
make science fiction stories, that make fantasy stories. Are you gonna go to them and constantly tell, oh, it's fake, it's not real, it's not
I don't
real?
know
No,
those
no, you
people,
don't.
Arwen.
You don't do that.
I don't know those
So,
people.
you
I
only
know
do
Nate.
that
I
with
know
Flat
Sleeping
Earth.
Warrior. I know you guys. I've grown to somewhat like you, even though we disagree on this subject. This is why we're all around. We
Yeah,
know
but
each
you
other.
don't go to Lord of the Rings fans.
Arwen, also, we shouldn't really.
to ridicule them all
we
day.
should. Yeah, but Arwen, it's a discussion. It's a general discussion for the public. It's a public discussion. So,
Yeah.
you know, people want to have their say, whether they, you know, agree, disagree. It's a discussion. It's a, you know, debate, a discussion, and you know, I don't think we should be excluding anybody. I don't think, you know.
The rig.
I've known
You can-
Spurs for like 3.5 years. I mean, why would I just walk away because I don't like flat Earth?
Well, it's just like, what do you want to bring to the
Not to
table,
walk
though?
away.
You know, what are your questions? Like, what do you like? What do you want to know right now?
Do I necessarily need questions for you to be relevant in this?
I asked you
To
if you
you?
had any questions. I asked you if you had any questions.
There's no questions that I have about the shape
The
of the
answer is
Earth
no. Then
at this
the
point.
answer is no. Then not all that other
So,
stuff.
Next.
No,
Not all
What
that-
other
I
questions?
get- all that big talk.
I think it's more a case of the ballers are interested in the flat Earth discoveries. So obviously, we know there are going to be new discoveries, new videos, new information.
There's no new discovery, dude. The
Well,
Earth is obviously a sphere. You guys
I
are
just want to say
you guys
quick
really
hello.
like
Sorry
this
to
idea.
interrupt you guys. I just want to say a very, very quick hello to the rig. How you doing, the rig? Can you hear us? Can you say a
Prove it
very
to
quick hello?
yourself that you're right and we're
Guys,
wrong.
yeah,
But
wanna
over
say
the
hello
years,
to
there's
the
been
rig.
two arguments where
Constantly.
ballers
Owen.
have
Hey guys, I
Owen,
got
Chemo,
stuff to do
hold
today.
on, hold on.
Have
Hello,
a
the rig.
good
Can you hear us?
debate.
Hold
See
on.
you all later. I love you. I love you all.
See you later.
Thanks, Haunted. Thanks. Good to have you.
Remember, you're the elite.
Hey, the rig. Can you hear us?
You might as well leave him in because he hasn't kicked
Oh
anyone.
God.
Oh God.
I'm not fighting back. I'm representing.
Hey, Debbie. Good to
Hey,
have you.
Debbie.
We're to support all.
Hello.
Oh boy.
The rig's fiddling with his mic. He'll get it.
Oh, y'all
working
making it-
eventually.
Oh, you making stupid memes about me? That's retarded. Do something more constructive. Like, I do have a job. I can help with it. I take
Are you
off.
talking on Discord, dude? Are
I'll
you
be back
talking
to
on
work
Discord?
and I'll be out enjoying myself.
Debbie, you
Going-
need to leave the Discord.
Vegas. I don't even live near Vegas.
I don't think she's meant
Alright.
to join this.
I'm muting. Yeah, I muted her.
Maybe it's just recording.
Yeah, it does sound like a recording.
That's
Oh,
cool.
okay.
Tim, I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
You know, your main arguing point is the celestial sphere proves the shape of the Earth. Does it not bother
I
you?
didn't ever say that it proves the shape of the Earth. It would lead one to believe that the Earth is a sphere, quite obviously.
Oh, thank you for your honesty.
It's a semantical argument, though, right? And your basic
No.
position is that it is because your
Yeah.
position is
No.
the celestial sphere proves the shape of the Earth, generally speaking.
No. I didn't say that it proves the shape of the Earth. Like I said, it's one of many logical deductions that one can take for if they're questioning the shape of the Earth.
It's
Nah, you're not going to Tim that
no,
easy.
it's a suggestion. It's a
I just
suggestion.
find it odd that you would step back from that when I'm about to ask you a really precise question on it.
Find any video where I said it proves the shape of the Earth.
You always
Give
go
you
on
a dollar.
about the celestial sphere.
Okay, well, there's a difference between me going on about the celestial sphere and me going on about the celestial sphere and saying that it proves the shape of the Earth.
Yeah, but to most people that listen to you talking about the celestial sphere, it sounds as though you're arguing that the celestial sphere is the proof of the shape of the Earth.
With the latitude, in conjunction with the latitude system, it's a damn good evidence.
So, does it not bother you, though, that there is an apparent lack of evidence to support the fact that two observers looking due south at the same time can see the same set of stars? That would be
I don't have the same standards of evidence as you. So there are many, many videos where you can go and look at the equator star trails. You can go look at Australian star trails, even from flat earthers. You can go South Africa star trails. So what your standards of evidence is for it happen at the same time. So I don't have that same standard of evidence.
Yeah,
So
you
that's
have
your
logic and
problem.
reason, right?
Yeah, I have a lot of logic and reasoning. Yeah,
No,
for
what I
the,
meant
the
was
shape
you
of the
have-
Earth.
You have
I
logic
think
and
that's called
reason.
bias.
No, what I meant was you have logic and reason for the standard for your evidence, right?
I have what? Say that again.
You have logic and reason for the standard for your evidence, correct?
No, there's evidence as well. It's not just logic and reasoning.
Well, if I said to you that I would quite happily jump ship and become a ball earther tomorrow, if there were two observers that had evidence to show that they could see the same set of stars when looking south, that would be something that would be logical and reasonable for a flat earther to do, right? But conversely, it would be logical and reasonable that the ballers should demand and require that level of evidence to claim that they accept that it's a ball, because that's the only way
No.
that would
See,
realistically.
my standards of evidence, as I just said a paragraph ago, are not the same as yours. I don't need two of at the same time. Okay, there are many from all over the world, that prove, in one certain sense to me, that it is a sphere. I can't prove anything to you or
Consensus.
anybody else. That's for you to do for yourself.
Okay.
So we've got about an hour and a half left on this live stream. I hope you're enjoying the debate thus far. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it's live, and a link in the info box below the video once it's rendered. But most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show, as this increases the live audience, and that in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. There's around an hour and a half left on this live stream.
It would be daytime in the third country.
Yeah, I've never said 3.
It still depends on the layout of
Two is
how
two is
the Earth
fairly reasonable.
Continents are divided, and if it's not a circle, if it's not a disc, then it could still be possible and flat. Like no matter how the sun is divided in observations on the Earth, doesn't bring the curvature back.
But then what I would argue is that it's down to flat Earth proponents or protagonists in the likes of Jaren or Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole or whatever to come up with an explanation to explain why the observers see the same set of stars.
Yes, it's impossible. I spent months trying to do it in graphic design. I tried to do it, dude. It's a mind bender.
It should.
Would you agree, though, Tim, if the same set of stars were not seen due south and they were like southeast and then southwest for the other guy, if they weren't due south for both observers, then that means that we're not either living on a ball or the way that the cartography is for the shape of the land, where the land masses are, they're not in the right place. One or the other is true.
If you had 2 ice cream cones, how many ice cream cones would you have?
I think actually, Tim, you've answered this already, because you said in conjunction with the latitude and longitude system, which are based on a sphere anyway, but that aside, you know, when they've got those magnetic declinations plotted in, I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I think they've got this covered, Anthony. So you might be turning baller soon, but you know, Tim's already covered this by saying, by phrasing it the way he phrased it.
Well, how could I be turning baller unless it's both south at the same time?
Well, you don't know how the magnetic anomalies are mapped out, now do you? And if I had 2,000 years and this stuff was actually tangible, you could measure it, then I'd be measuring it and making sure I co-opted it perfectly. That's what I'd be doing if I had 2,000 years of the entire body of science behind me. So,
well, then there's still a certain amount of truth, though. They can only hide so much. And when people are looking due south without any kind of magnetic declination, and they see a celestial point, and then they look due north when they're in the northern hemisphere and they see a celestial point, it begs the question: why the lie? Why the lie of something that we can all observe on Earth? It's not like it's this crazy system where things are just randomly flowing about. It's like, no, we know what's going on all around the Earth. It's called stellarium, and it works.
Doesn't for the equinox.
That's the sky, though, isn't it? That's just the sky.
Yeah, you know.
Well, we're going to go with that argument where sky doesn't matter because it disproves flat Earth. That's what the whole. Yeah, it does.
No, it doesn't. No,
yes, it does.
Mankind has, over history in all the cultures, has mapped out the angular relations.
Yeah.
The heavenly bodies, their positions,
of course they have.
Angular positions.
Of course they have. Did they do that for all hemispheres? They do it for both hemispheres, or they just do it for their local plane?
No,
Arwen?
Everywhere.
The planosphere? They just do it for a local area, or do they do it for the whole Earth, Arwen?
I think pretty much the whole Earth, and even
there's
so
great indications
that ancient civilizations have been all over the Earth. So if they are over the Earth, and why would they then?
Which ones are you talking about?
Well,
which ones are you talking about?
Well, what about that civilization that built all the pyramids that are now in oceans and all over all continents, pretty much? Is that maybe Australia?
So they were in the southern hemisphere then, and the northern hemisphere?
Oh, yeah.
And they mapped it all out?
Probably. yeah, this hard to
Okay,
find
so you
evidence
said I
of
think
that,
and
of course,
probably,
because
Arwen.
we don't have any writings of them. But
Okay, well, you said I think and probably, Arwen. So,
well, if they were able to build pyramids in their form, then
you know, because you're just talking out your ass at this point.
no,
Right.
I'm not.
Yeah, you are. You said I think and probably.
Yeah.
So if you, when you have some facts about ancient cosmology and them being in both hemispheres and mapping it perfectly, let me know, because we have mapped it perfectly
He is
to the
right.
state.
But on what data did you base all those systems?
Oh, it's all
Because
based on the
I
presupposition
think it's pretty
that they're
much
on a sphere, Arwen.
converted
You're right
from
about
the
that.
ancient
You know,
astrology system.
the mapping system is gonna base it on it being on a sphere. So yeah, you know, you're both right. If you use the presupposition, the outcome being it's a sphere, the inputs being that you're on a sphere, and you map it all based on that, then yeah, it's going to work. It's going to be accurate. And as Arwen says, they have mapped aspects of the sky in the distant past, as far as we can tell.
Yeah, there's a lot of references in the most ancient religions, all of them. So, especially the Hindu religion, which is extremely old, one of the oldest still going, has many accounts of how the angular relations are in the astrology system, all of that. So
Yeah, but you're missing the point here, and I
No,
think purposely, pedantically, I think at this point that I said both hemispheres have been mapped as till now, and they did not. They don't have that in ancient cosmology at all.
no, I beg to differ.
They have planispheres.
Planispheres.
Yes, it's called the planisphere. It's a local observation map that, yeah, you can predict eclipses. You can predict what stars and circumpolar stars are going to be around, but you're not going to predict the whole Earth's stars like we do now. And no, there is no presupposition that you're on a ball.
Yeah, but you don't
when you do
even
these
know.
observations.
You haven't really mapped
Yeah,
all
there
of it
is.
out even.
Hang on. Let me address
Absolutely
that.
a
I can do that.
presupposition that you're on a
You-
ball.
you
To go
understand?
beyond the North Pole and the South Pole to see how it works over there.
Tim, you do understand that comment with regard to the planisphere and not being able to predict the stars for the whole Earth. There is the star map on the planisphere as part of it, and the window is how much you can see in the night sky. The stars can be predicted on. All you do is take off the mask over the top. You can see all the stars.
What? You take off the mask? What does that mean?
Well, there's the top layer that gives you the window of the sky that you're looking at. Take that off, and then all the stars are underneath it. So you can see all the stars from the whole Earth. It's just your perspective. That mask at the top is what deals with your perspective from your position.
I literally don't even know what that means.
You can only see half the globe of the heavens.
You said the
The other
planisphere
half
cannot
is
predict-
underneath is like in the Earth. You
You
can't
said
see it. It's obscured by the Earth.
You said that the planisphere cannot predict all of the stars for all of the Earth at once. It can.
Yeah.
You just take the top layer off the mask that stops you. That top layer with the window in it is your perspective. But if you remove your perspective, that top layer, and then see all the stars over the shape of the Earth, then it does exactly what
That's
you
just
say
not
down.
true. That's simply not true, because if you have a planisphere in the northern hemisphere, you're not going to be able to predict the southern hemisphere stars, period, by taking a mask off of it. That makes no sense at all.
Just because you don't understand it doesn't mean it makes no sense. Look at AJC.
No, I've studied planispheres actually, and if you're in the northern hemisphere, you're not going to see the southern hemisphere by taking a mask off of it.
No, but your point was that you couldn't see all of the stars on the Earth, and you can if you remove the top
you
mask.
can't. No,
the top
he's
window
right. He's
bit.
right.
I just
you get
said
different
that's
local
wrong.
planispheres.
You didn't address
No,
what
you
I said.
No, what you said was you didn't understand what I said. You didn't say it was wrong. What I said was
No, I just said if you have a planisphere for the northern hemisphere, right? You're not going to just take off a mask and then have the southern hemisphere stars.
Correct.
All right, give me.
Can we agree on that?
Give me
Yes,
give me
that's
2
correct.
minutes and I'll prove you wrong.
Yeah, he needs a visual.
I
'cause
don't
he
think you
can't
will
see
prove
what
him
you
wrong.
mean.
No, you're correct, Tim. That's absolutely correct.
No, it isn't. Give me 2 minutes and I'll give you a proof.
Okay, you don't have the
That
north
just-
and
that doesn't
south
make sense,
stars
man.
on a single planisphere. I've never seen that.
Give
I
me 2
haven't
minutes.
either. And really, the original concept was about Arwen's claim that the ancients had the whole Earth's stars figured out, which I would love to see evidence of that.
Yeah, he
but
won't.
there
get
isn't
it.
any.
He won't
They're
get
still
it.
over the Earth, Tim. The monuments that they built were all aligned up to celestial bodies in one way or another.
Okay,
True.
do you understand the essence of actually listening to someone when they're talking? They said all of these stars. Yes, they had their local planisphere mapped out, and it's beautiful, right? All of the stars. Okay, when people found that there was a southern hemisphere and new stars in it, it was quite obvious to most people then that the Earth was a sphere. They used to use the North Pole for
when you're
navigation quite a
talking
bit
about
more.
the southern hemisphere,
No,
where
but
do you
you're,
think
you're trying to say
India
that people in the South then didn't build.
Where is
monuments
India? Just a
lining up with
question,
stars.
because I think that India is pretty much on the equator. Is that incorrect? So,
Nath, I'm ready to present if you can present me.
You're on.
So, Tim, you said your words were, Tim, that if you got a planisphere, you couldn't see all of the stars over all of the plane. And I said that's because there's only a top layer on, which gives you the window of your perspective. But if you remove the top window, you get that. And then you see all of the stars. Literally remove the window and you see the whole set of stars.
Wrong. What does it say on the planisphere where your mouse is now?
Pardon?
Read what it says on the top layer. Read the words on the planisphere.
I can't, it's too small. It says glow in the
About 2
dark
frames, so
planisphere,
you can see the
latitude
whole...
north.
What, sorry, what was that last word?
Latitude north.
Right, so it's giving you a general position of where you're viewing from, right?
Yeah, but Tim
right,
said
and it specifically states that it's north.
Right, but if you take off the top layer, you can see right the way down to the southern crux somewhere in here. Let me get it.
Can you?
See, there's the crux. So how much further south do you want to go?
But has it got all of the stars in there?
Well, it's down to 60 degrees south. If you're in the north, why would you want to see the other side of the
That's
Earth?
Tim's point. So you're saying why would you
No,
want to?
no.
Well,
Tim's
in this
wrong.
case, you'd want to prove your point, but you've just failed to. That's what I kind of tried to stop you. But at the moment, the whole panel's having their asses handed to them by Tim Osman. Just to point that out.
No, not at all. Not at
You
all.
are.
Tim said you could not see all of the stars with a planisphere. That's not true. All you do is remove the top layer, then you see all the stars.
You don't. You're not seeing all of the stars on this.
Right. There's one constellation beyond the crux. There are no other constellations beyond the crux.
Thanks, Nate.
No.
I'm going to go out for smoke quick.
No. Respond,
No
Nathan,
worries.
or respond, Tim. There's only one bit that's missing out of this, and it's
Right, you failed. As soon as you say that one sentence, there's only one bit missing. Well, that's not all, is it?
Okay, so all bar one
Well,
constellation.
that's
which is
not what you
Octan.
said, though.
Okay, then I'll retract that part. All bar octans. Everything else is on it. There's the crux. So how much further south do you want to go when you're nowhere near it?
oh, by the way, I was slightly wrong. India is just above the equator. But it's not really a northern continent, so you can still see a great deal of the southern half of the globe of the heavens.
I mean, I've got to be honest here, right? When it comes to heliocentrism, this is it, man. They've got this stuff pegged.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do. It's
No, they don't.
admirably pegged to the point
No, they
where
don't.
it's aspirational in terms of how good a job they've done. So if you want to pick them apart on this level, you're going to fail every time. They've got it
So
pegged.
why
They've
is
got
it
all
on the
pegged.
northern
Used the
planets?
ancient model and
Wait,
then
hang on,
wrapped
wait,
it
wait,
around
wait,
the
wait,
globe.
wait, Arwin, wait. Nathan, why is it on the northern planisphere they show the crux? Why would they do that?
I don't have an answer. Sorry.
Right. That's the question. Why is the crux on there and everything else around the crux is all the way around the outside edge? And there's no octans. And you can't even see the Astronomical Society of Tasmania could not produce evidence that octans even existed when I had a back and forth with them over and over and over again. Your claim that it's pegged isn't true. It's a perception and it isn't supported by facts. Tim's claim that the planisphere doesn't do something that it clearly does. You've got a misguided belief on what it doesn't do. It does. And nobody really knows what's going on. Hence the reason why we need to know what stars can be seen by two people when looking south at the same time. Because there's a northern planisphere, it's got the crux on it, and all of whatever the constellations around the outside edge appear to go around the outside edge, just like it would do on a dome. Nobody's got an explanation
I'd
for
love
that,
to be proven
and we haven't
wrong.
got evidence to the contrary.
I'd love to be proven wrong because
Me
it could
too.
be my, as you put it, misguided belief. But when I looked into it, which was almost immediately after finding out about flat Earth, I found a dead end. Now, it would be nice to know that I'd just done poor research and I'd got it wrong, or I'd, just followed the wrong path, but I don't think so. But if you can prove it to me, fine.
Right, so let the record show that Tim said that the stars couldn't be shown by a planisphere, and I showed that they can. You just remove the top layer. Nathan said that you can't see all of the stars, and I agree, you can't see octans, but the Astronomical Society of Tasmania couldn't produce evidence that it existed either. So one constellation's missing that an astronomical society couldn't prove even existed because they're all very low magnitude stars, and they couldn't even do it either. So bar that one constellation that seems to be a bit of a discrepancy, I'm claiming that Tim's wrong and you're wrong too. So unless somebody can prove what stars can be seen at the same time, it stands that there is an issue with the southern stars.
Well, then the only way to really figure it out is to go south enough to actually perceive some kind of southern rotation point.
No, that's not enough.
We'd have to go to Antarctica for that.
No, that's not enough. That's not enough. You need two.
You
need multiple observations. That's what.
At the same time,
exactly.
looking south.
That's what would prove it, because that proves it for them, Arwin. If you just did what you just described, that's what Tim Osman would assert in his argument that you'd need to do. So you'd both be making the same argument in that regard.
Yeah. Well, sorry, and to me, it's still not proved. Like, I don't believe the disk is the correct model. I think it's just a projection that simplifies it. So,
guys, we do have an Australian on the panel right now. Let's get the rig to start speaking.
He's not here. He came on and off trying to get his mic sorted, and he's not here at the minute. So he may rejoin. Hopefully, it's probably really.
So, Arwin, one of the biggest glaring holes in the flat Earth models, let's just say models, and some people just started saying, "Oh, we don't need a model," is that the stars and the sun and the moon do not work in any way, just using observations. Now, you like to use this, there's simulations or some kind of hologram or something. Either way, the models that we have right now do work, no matter what they're... Hold on, I was still speaking. It doesn't really matter the composition of those objects. It works.
Tim, we've got Grimvy and we've got Cara Diane that both claim that the vernal equinox proves that we live on a ball. Yet when your model that you cite from Celestia or Stellarium, whichever, when you actually model...
How many degrees off of the equinox is off of east and west?
Yeah, but it's
because that's where you're going.
It's supposed to be directly according to your model. Yet when you model it, it doesn't do that. And
so does SunCalc say that it's perfect, 90 degree?
But that 1 or 2 degrees is important, Tim, because it means it misses the sun by a shed load by the time it travels the 93 miles.
You're almost trying to strawman me here, and you do this a lot where you bring up somebody's argument like Cara Diane or Grimvy.
Not really. I've just supported you in your models, there's only a few stars missing.
And I challenged you on it because it doesn't.
I mean, I've just
the model
only a few stars missing. If you're only going to, Tim, if you're only going to say it's only a little bit off, then that's. I can't really back you when you say, well, I could just go with his argument and go, wow, wonderful, it's only a couple of stars, so yeah, it shows all of them. Well, no, if it's off, it's off.
Yeah, I'm not saying that you can't have a planisphere that would map all the stars, but does it map it in any kind of relevant way? Did the ancients use any kind of planisphere, local planisphere, that mapped all the stars? No.
It was called a sundial, that's how they did it.
Sundial? Nah.
For the stars?
They used the sundial to work out the time of the year, and they knew where the stars would be based on the time of the year rather than its position in the sky.
Are you talking about the flat Earth cosmologists back in the day, or are you talking about sphere Earth?
Egyptians. You said they didn't use planispheres. Well, they effectively did by using the sundial to work out where the sun was.
You're taking me out of context, and I would have to say purposely at this point.
No, I'm challenging you on your nonsense. You're making statements that are not true.
No, you're actually strawmanning me into statements that you think you hear that I say, but I'm not actually saying.
No, you said that the Stellarium was perfectly modelled, and it isn't. It doesn't do.
It is modelled perfectly.
No, it isn't, because why don't you start the stars appear in the right place on the equinox? Is that an anomaly?
I have not seen any evidence on the contrary of them working.
So you're denying that you saw Cara Diane make a right hash of it, and Sly refusing to address it.
Well, I'm sure now that maybe Sly is listening, he can address it, and you'll just
I've been
this will be
asking you
another
for-
thing that is swept under the rug.
Can you,
I've been
can you
asking
lay
you're
it
wrong
out,
about.
Anthony? Can you lay out what you're, because the audience is completely unaware potentially of what you're talking about right now.
Cara Diane and Grim V both claim that the vernal equinox proves we live on a ball. When challenged to prove this point, Cara brought out Stellarium and modelled the equinox on Stellarium. Her quote was, and this is verbatim: the sun and the moon. Hang on, which one was it? The sun will rise in the east directly, and it will set in the west directly for everybody on Earth. Yet when she demonstrated it on Stellarium, it was 1.5 degrees out. When I pointed this out to her, she had no explanation for it and thought that it was reasonable to be close enough. And I was like, yeah, but by the time you get to 93 million miles away, that 1.5 degrees or half a degree or whatever value it was that was not directly east or west has a problem for you, meaning that the sun's not in the same place. So when Sly tried to support her, he ignored my request to demonstrate where she went wrong and just basically shoved it under the mat. So if you're out there, Sly, I'd like to see this modelled. Why is it that Stellarium does not show the sun rise directly and set directly east and west on the vernal equinox?
That's the second time he's done that. So the first time he did it was when he had a whole bunch of people drawing their angle to the moon, and then he drew it out and said, look, they miss on a flat plane. It's like, well, that problem's massively increased when you put in your little spherical part of your mathematics and do the same bloody observation and use the same angles that everyone got. You'd find that you're an absolute mile off when you push out the distances to the heliocentric model. But he didn't show that. He just ignored it.
So it's the second time he's dealt with that. But ultimately, let's put it straight. Your claim, Tim, that you're saying I'm strawmanning you on, was that it's been modelled perfectly. They were your words, and it isn't perfectly modelled. And I'm not strawmanning you by pointing out a flaw in what your claim was. I'm showing you that that perfect model wasn't perfect on the equinox. Yet all the ballers seem to believe that the vernal equinox proves around Earth.
You're saying their claims aren't perfect. You're saying the model is, right? Because the model does say and predict this, does it not? Does SunCalc say it sets perfectly west and rises perfectly east?
According to Cara, according to Sly.
I don't care what that's a straw man. I don't care what they're saying.
Yeah, but your claim was that the Stellarium it's modelled perfectly. But when we challenge it, it's not
Did she not model it
perfectly.
herself? Did she not model it herself in her own blender or whatever?
No, she modelled it on Stellarium, and it didn't do what it's supposed to do on the vernal equinox.
You love these calm little moments of contemplation.
He's probably being fed from Discord right now by the rumpus, and he can't make his point concisely. That's why it's taken a while.
No, I didn't even hear a question. I'm actually going to grab coffee. I'm not in Discord on Gem server, so.
I'm 99% certain that Tim doesn't actually require any feeding like Dawn Treader.
Twitwit, can I show it? No, I've only just put a fresh version of Windows on, and I haven't got Stellarium set up yet. It's literally my first time I've used it. I probably could set it up right now, but
I'll just
I don't have
the
any
point you
intentions
made
to.
for Tim,
It's
though.
not my
Sorry
surgeon.
to cut you off for your chat conversation. So what he's saying, Tim, is that your claim was that it's modelled perfectly, and then you gave the example of Stellarium. And then what Anthony has done is taken what the heliocentric model dictates in terms of what happens on the vernal equinox, and then showed that it doesn't match with Stellarium. In other words, it's not modelled correctly at all.
And then
I do believe my original point was about the stars. So for him to bring up the sun doesn't really surprise me.
He's not bringing up the sun.
Cares? You said it was a straw man, and it wasn't. I was addressing your point directly.
About the stars and Stellarium, or about the sun and Stellarium?
Oh, who cares? Stellarium is your model, is it not?
You did use the sun, moon, and stars when you made your example, actually, Tim. Unfortunately, you did put them in at the beginning. So, yeah, you're on the hook for them too.
I just want to reassert my position that I would jump ship if we could show the stars' position to two observers in the south at the same time when looking due south, see the same set of stars in the same piece of the sky. That is the
There
position.
are supposedly millions of flat earthers. Why haven't they done this yet? I
Because
proposed
it's
this
not our
over
assertion.
3 years
Your
ago.
assertion.
The global
No, I think
assertion.
that you guys, in the pursuit of truth, would actually, and trying to model your own, delusions or whatever, would actually go and do this.
This
You're
is
the one
a
that
globe
claims the
earth
celestial
assertion that you've had 2,000 years of understanding to prove already, and what you've come up with has just been debunked by your own guys modelling
you
and
use this
using Stellarium to actually try and replicate what you've just quoted chapter and verse, which is that it's all modelled perfectly. Well, it isn't. Stellarium failed. It didn't get the prediction correct. I'd say the same for various other models that I've tested, but they're not being argued about. But the point is that it's not modelled correctly, and you're saying, well, why haven't you gone out in the pursuit of truth? Well, because these aren't assertions that flat earthers make to prove a globe. We're not trying to prove a globe. You are, and have had 2,000 years to do it, and your models fail.
So anyway, you like to use this argument quite a bit about the 2,000-year argument. But I just wonder, like, before those 2,000 years, what was the common accepted Earth model?
There is no evidence to support
Wasn't it
anything.
2,000 years ago, and don't assert that anybody knew it 2,000 years ago. I have been to the Mapper Monday and shown what was punted out to the people about 500 years ago, but that in terms of historical documents that I've witnessed with my own eyes, not that that makes it first hand, that's all I've got.
So you don't believe that flat Earth was quote unquote known before the spherical Earth?
I don't care to believe anything. I don't know, and what I've got is what I've seen in Hereford in physical format, which is a map. That's it.
So what makes you know that 2,000 years ago they proposed it was a sphere Earth?
I don't. That's what you guys constantly tell me. We've known for 2,000 plus years. That's what you tell me. So I then say, well, if you've known for 2,000 years, what have you got?
So you've backpedaled and you don't think that flat Earth was primarily thought of before the spherical Earth?
I've never asserted that as far as I know.
Oh.
We
That's
don't know
interesting.
what happened 2,000 years
I
ago.
think
so
Arwin may have asserted that, and he's still on the panel.
History, we can't prove a lot of history beyond 500 years. There's not a lot of proof of any history beyond 500
Totally
years.
agree.
Pardon?
I'm agreeing with you. I think that's about the correct number, about 500 years. And again, this is backed up in terms of the books that you've got that are second, third publications and have had alterations, ultimately speaking. You don't know what the first edition is, and we haven't got 1,000-year-old books that we can just get hold of and have a look at. I think Jaron looked at it about 2 years ago and was saying that the oldest thing he could get hold of was about 300 years old. Now, that's not the standard. That's not any sort of acid test. I'm just stating a fact. That's what stating or quoting what Jaron stated.
Yeah, Jaron knows quite a bit about books. I'll give him that. But yeah, I would never use him as any kind of credible source.
Who would you use as a credible source?
Me. I'd just use me.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Really?
Yeah, he peer-reviewed yours, so.
I like using PewDiePie to show how dumb.
Yeah, we should use PewDiePie for all future references now. He's far more credible than Neil deGrasse. So seriously, Tim, who would you consider is Brian Cox credible?
I don't listen to UK scientists.
So who do you consider credible scientists then?
For the most part, consensus, because anything consensus usually matches with reality.
Okay, so who's the other
in terms of
really?
cosmology? In terms of cosmology, not pharmaceuticals, not
all right,
different
so
subjects.
Tim, just applying what you've just said there, we've got Arwin, myself, we've got Nathan. That makes a consensus if we all say the Earth's flat. By consensus, you must therefore agree that the Earth is flat, because in this room there is a consensus.
God, you make really bad arguments, dude. Really terrible arguments.
3v1's a consensus, dude.
He's right, but
that's
limited
not
consensus, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't even go with that. Go ahead.
So how do you define consensus then?
Well, I wouldn't define consensus being who's on the hangout that I'm on, dude.
It is a consensus though. 3v1.
I would be intrigued.
Sure,
I've never done this in 180 odd
Go ahead.
shows. So if you're in the chat right now and you've got access to a keyboard, type 1 if you think the Earth is flat. Type 2 if you think the Earth is a sphere. Let's see what the
Oh,
opinion
dear.
of the chat is. I've never asked. One
It's
for
an
flat,
interesting
two for
question
sphere.
because your show, at least your comments and chatters, like I know pretty much everyone in this arena, but for the most part, you have globe earthers come onto the show.
I'd
I think
agree.
you know that.
Quite a lot
I
of
think I
ones
know
there,
that.
Tim.
One for flat, two for globe. Looking pretty even, Stephen, so far.
No, I'd say it's more weighted in favour of one. Oh no, it's coming back.
Yeah,
Now it's coming back.
Nathan, you're gonna have to count these.
yeah, but it's being recorded. I can go back after. I'm not going to do it now, but yeah, that's why I did
I
it.
wonder if the consensus would be in favour of the Earth being flat, Tim, with the whole hangout, and then that puts you in a more awkward position than just
Oh,
being
you
on
know,
the panel
voting
with three of us.
Hey guys, yeah, thank you, Nathan, for presenting me. I noticed something. Yeah, this is not really like proof or anything, but I just went on Google Maps and I spotted something a bit peculiar. I was just first looking basically to confirm that India is indeed above the northern part of the equator. And then I just started to look at Antarctica and just see like, hey, how did they present it? Because according to the ball model, it's supposed to be an island, but I'm noticing this distinct mountain range here showing, and it seems to be like it's cut off.
Isn't that the
Because
Rockefeller mountain range?
Yeah, but just look at that. Like it's being cut off. You can't go further south on this in this system. But when you look on the other side, it's not continuing. It's just cut off there. So what is that leading into? It doesn't look very circle centric. So what is beyond there that's not visible? That is this shape. It's
That's
kind
the
of
ultimate
peculiar
question,
thing.
Owen. Good to get it on the show, though.
Yeah. It's not proof, of course, but it's odd. Like
Yeah,
if Antarctica is supposed to be an island, then what is this mountain range really leading into? Because it's not there on the other side. It's just odd.
Yeah, very. You're not going to get any
Did you take your
answer.
super male vitality today, Arwen?
No, I don't
Honestly.
take that actually.
You're not going to get an answer, just so you're clear on that, Arwin. Very nice rhetorical question, but ultimately none of us are going to be able to answer you.
I just see Flat Earth Friends, Nibiru, and Infowars on his bar there. That's funny.
Oh yeah. That's right.
Ugh, man.
Oh,
And
you're
Russia
looking at what he's
Today as
subscribed
well.
to. Oh, I see what you mean on his like tabs. Oh, gotcha.
Bookmarks. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, some
I
people
have
are
nothing
idiots.
to hide.
They'll
These
share
are the
their
things
screens and they'll have like
typically
their
watch.
pornography on their tabs. And you're like, what kind of an
No,
idiot are
not
you?
putting those there.
Yeah, but you know, don't get me wrong, people watch porn, but you wouldn't be so stupid as to stick it on a tab and then share your screen.
Well,
Some
Hillbilly
people-
did, didn't he?
Anyway,
You wouldn't be so stupid to have videos where dildos are in the picture, would you?
Depends on
I
whether you're
did that
talking to Sly the
intentionally.
Live
That was
Spark or not.
that
I
was
think it's totally
intentional.
justified in them circumstances.
That took about 5 takes, right, Tim? And it was absolutely intentional.
Yeah, it
I
was.
know.
but do you guys agree? Like looking at this mountain range, what is it leading into? It doesn't seem to be going into a circle here,
That's a really good point, Arwin.
and it's cut off. You can't see. You can't go any further than this. So I wonder if they're really showing the entire continent of Antarctica. Personally, I think that Antarctica is going to lead into a much vaster amount of land that is just not presented to us. Because
I don't think
this
there's any
mountain range
evidence
is
of
kind
that,
of an
though.
indicator to that. Because, hey, look, on the other side, it's not there. See? Where's that mountain? Should be right here. It's not.
Maybe it's your Pac-Man flat Earth model.
A rectangular looping model. Isn't that what you
Yeah.
call it?
Well, I think it is. I think this is an indicator.
But you can't trust that, but you're going to use it for your own narrative, right? Or no?
Use it for my narrative. It's just an observation I made right here on the spot.
Where's the map come from, Arwin?
It's Google. See? It's a standard Google map.
I mean,
So
the Mercator
when you
projection,
type Google,
where's-
you click on map, then you get this.
forget it.
Sorry.
Yeah. It's kind of like taking NASA's word for it on something that fits your narrative when you don't believe NASA is putting out legitimate information. I hear that a lot from
I'll give
flat
you an
earthers.
example. So I don't, but just for example, I think the moon's hollow. Do you know why? Because they threw something at the moon and it rang like a bell.
Yeah.
Hey, Ruhif. Good to have
What's
you.
up, Ruhif? Hopefully, Ruhif can go into the equinox in the slight degree.
What?
Did you not hear that?
No,
Our friend Anthony here is upset that the equinox isn't perfectly east to west. Perfectly. He wants it perfect.
Yeah, it has to be perfectly on your model according to your claim.
Not my claim, but other people's claim.
Your model's claim is that the sun and the moon, the sun will rise and set directly east and west for everybody on the Earth on the vernal equinox, correct?
I think there's a semantic thing going on, like directly as in perfectly, or like negligibly.
That's required by your model, Tim. It's to do with the position of the axial rotation and the tilt. According to your model, we all get the sun rise directly and set directly. Everybody.
So we've got about a little under an hour left on this live stream. Hope you're all enjoying the debate thus far. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it's live. Shout out to Ruth if he's just joined us for his super chat yesterday. And there's a link in the info box below the video once it's rendered. Most importantly though, if you'd like to join the panel, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below the video to join the discussion and express your views on the shape of the Earth. Please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show if you've not done so already. Sharing the show increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share, share, share. As I say, there is about 55 minutes left on this live stream.
I'm on my phone.
Oh.
I look for a link quick, probably, though. Grab some coffee, let Ruhif take over, try to teach you guys stuff.
Ruhif's got a dare for Nathan.
I've got a what?
What?
You have a dare for Nathan, I believe.
A dare?
A dare? Oh, no, he did do the dare.
Oh, I did do the dare.
Yeah, but you didn't actually talk about the results, did you?
Oh, you mean it didn't go straight to Wiki or Forbes like you hoped it would?
No, let's go through the first page of results for scientific.
Right. So I did go through the first page and picked a result off the first page, but as I just said, I ignored Wiki and Forbes, which were the first two results.
Yeah, why did you ignore them?
Why would I take them? There's plenty. I'm sure there was about 30 million results, Ruhif. Is it so limited that I have to take the top result?
Let's just go through the first page.
I went and picked one from the first page.
But hang on, one. Ruhif, wait. Ruhif,
yesterday's hangout, for anybody who wants to reference, Ruhif sent me about 5 or 6 Australian dollars and said, Google scientific proof right now. Now, I didn't actually catch it. I was blabbering along, so I didn't see the super chat or thank him at the time. But I saw it underneath later and did exactly that. I went and Googled it, and lo and behold, Forbes and Wiki say scientific proof doesn't exist. Oh, right, Ruhif. Is that so? Okay. Well, if you want to claim that the scientific method means nothing, that's fine. You can claim that.
Okay, so I'll go through the first page of hits then. Hit number 1. Do you want to share my screen, or just want to let me read it off?
Before you do, Ruhif, let me just give you a qualifier here.
Verbally.
If you're going to select from Forbes, I'm going to call you M. Scott Veitch's little boy, little teddy bear. Because that's what M. Scott Veitch does, and Forbes causes problems for M. Scott Veitch and the credibility issue. So be careful if you're going to go into Forbes, because I'm going to laugh at you if you do.
I'm just going to read off the first 10 hits or whatever.
Okay.
Of the words scientific proof. Hit number 1 actually comes up with a wiki page for scientific evidence, not scientific proof. It's almost like it said, did you say scientific evidence instead of scientific proof? That's hit number 1. Hit number 2 is Forbes. Anthony, And it said, we can demonstrate, suggest, and convince ourselves that a scientific truth is valid. But proof, that's an impossibility for science.
So then you can't prove anything about in science, according to you, then.
Yeah, according to Forbes.
This is what Brendan
of course,
was explaining
Forbes
last
also
night.
claim you can have a vacuum next to a non-vacuum,
Yeah.
as cited by son of an astronaut M. Scott Veach. So they can basically pick anything from anywhere. They're not scientists, are they, Forbes? Nor a wiki.
These are the top 10 hits on Google.
So
we could go
Google
through every
aren't
single
scientists
page
either,
if you like.
right? So they're not scientists defining this. Is wiki. It's anybody can make an
There's a
entry in wiki.
few. There's
Forbes,
American
they're
scientists.
a magazine, right?
There's
They're just a
NASA,
magazine.
NASA, Berkeley,
So do we
Rational
trust?
Wiki,
Do we trust based on this
Scientific
that all
American.
magazines are truthful? Then the news doesn't lie.
What was your search phrase, Ruhif?
Scientific proof.
Right,
Nathan said to look it up.
Hang on. Wasn't the word scientific method? Wasn't that the word that?
No. Nathan said like 3 or 4 times, look it up, scientific proof.
No,
Yeah,
scientific
and I
method.
define scientific proof. That's
no,
how I
he said
define it,
look up
Ruhif.
scientific proof.
Yeah,
several
proof
times.
using the scientific method.
Yeah.
Science doesn't prove anything, though.
Seems like a
Yeah,
straw
it
man.
does. Well, okay, that's fine for you guys to say, simply because science hasn't proven the Earth is a sphere. That's okay for you to use if it makes you feel better.
We're demonstrating that your criteria is faulty.
My criteria is simple, and I've said this to one individual on your side of the argument in excess of 100 times. What I would like is an adherence to the scientific method that proves Earth curvature. Simple. Proof. Now, you might want to play a semantical game with the word proof. That's fine.
Well,
Anthony?
let's be clear. He has always said scientific method, as far as I'm concerned.
No.
And if he's used it
Go
interchangeably,
back and listen.
right? Is that the rumpus?
Yeah. Anthony, wait, before you guys continue, just a direct question. Do Nathan or Riley, do you have Google Earth installed?
No,
don't.
not yet.
Do you have it, Nathan?
Seriously?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Because I would
Hit number
love to
3.
compare the Google image on Google Earth of the Antarctic, how that actually looks at the center point with the map.
You were
That
looking
is
at a
online.
Mercator projection, Marwin. They don't show the bottom 90 degrees. They don't show the last 5 degrees. You're an idiot.
There you go. There's your answer.
All right. Hit number 3 on the Google
Okay, so it's
search.
incomplete.
Common misconceptions about science. Proof only exists in mathematics and logic, not in science.
Right, hang on.
Hit
Ruhif,
number
let's
4.
just check.
Where's
Let's
the
just
proof
check.
in science? There is none.
Ruhif,
Yes, Anthony.
if you're going to argue that scientific proof doesn't exist for anything to do with the shape of the Earth, don't you just shoot yourself in the foot?
No, this is what we've been talking about all along. Scientific proof doesn't exist.
But it can invalidate things, though, can't it? It can
Yes,
say
an
they're
argument.
false.
Exactly.
And then what it can do is
Test
say that the
model.
flat Earth is false. That's what it can do.
Yeah.
But
All
what
right,
it
it can also
can't do is
say-
it can't prove you're not a brain in a vat. So it can't prove things because it can't prove you're not a brain in a vat. Which
No, it just can't prove that the Earth is a sphere. That's all it can't prove. If it could, when I asked multiple times for scientific proof, I'd get answers from Rumpus like, the entire body of science backs this. Well, we'd like to see it, what they've got, what they've presented to you or the world in the last 2,000 years, and we'd like to see if that conforms to the scientific method or not.
you don't know what the scientific method is, though, Nathan.
I don't need to. I don't need to have a full understanding. I'm a
So
YouTuber.
you're going to apply criteria you don't understand to
Yeah,
the.
I can
to
get
the
help.
evidence given.
Nice one, Nathan.
I can get help.
Good
I'm
one.
not.
You've just
I am not
contradicted-
for 1 second pretending that I will have an understanding of the last 2,000 years of science, Rumpus. Nor do I need to. What you need to do is present what you think qualifies as a scientific proof of Earth
You
curvature.
just used that phrase again.
Yeah,
Why
I'm
did you
using
use
it deliberately, Ruhif. I'm asking it for about 101 times. Scientific proof. You can have a semantical game with me if you want to, but the audience knows what's being asked for. I want you to prove scientifically that we live on a sphere by providing a scientific proof of Earth curvature. If you want to take a Google search as a debunking of that question and say, I don't have to prove it with science because you can't, and use a semantical argument to get out of it, I find that pretty
That's
pathetic.
semantics.
That's the best.
You
yeah,
made a very-
yeah, semantics. Yeah. I want a scientific proof of Earth curvature. You want to say
Yeah,
science can't
scientific
prove
proofs
anything,
don't
and you
exist.
think that's one? Great, you've won. Bye. Well done. Good job, lads. Good job. Good
You don't
job.
understand what constitutes proof. You don't understand science.
Ah, excellent question, Rumpus. What do I think constitutes proof? Let's see what you've got, and we will test it based on its adherence to the scientific method. Couldn't be clearer.
You don't know what the scientific method is either.
I'll say that again too. You think it matters whether or not I fully understand it. It doesn't. All that matters is that you present a scientific proof of Earth curvature, and then I get to scrutinise it. I might even get some help, Rumpus.
But you can't scrutinise it because you don't know what the scientific method is.
First you present it.
The wrong test.
First you present it, then I will scrutinise it.
I will present scientific evidence for Earth curvature.
Excellent.
Well, I've got a presentation on that ship that shows that, in fact, Ranty was, of course, completely wrong. It wasn't 25 miles away. And thanks to Ruhif, who found out where it was, I've got pictures showing you how it can't work on a flat Earth, and it has exactly the right image for a spherical Earth. Ranty was, of course, completely wrong, as I predicted. And Arwin, who committed himself to the Ranty position, it's really hilarious. He got it.
So this is a situation where Rumpus has dogmatically asserted that Earth curve is blocking the bottom of a ship. And I've pointed out to him that with absolutely no information about it whatsoever, he's prepared to say that it's Earth curve, and that he'd go away and back up his claim later with maths, regardless of knowing whether or not it was at 3 miles or 30 miles away from the picture. He had no idea where the observation was, he had no idea what the height was, but like a dogmatist, like a zealot, just declared that it's curvature blocking the bottom of the boat. And as I predicted, he's come back and backed it up with a bit of mathematics, which proves nothing.
No, we've got more than just mathematics. Hold
on, Rumpus, hold on.
I did a search for mathematical
Ranty
proof
had an
yesterday
explanation
too.
that Nathan was perfectly fine with accepting, right, Nathan?
I didn't hear that, Tim. Sorry, say again. Hi, Dawn.
So different standards with Ranty, right?
No, I have a very high standard when somebody's been asserted to for 2,000 years that something is true. I would expect scientific proof to be in abundance. So when you ask a YouTuber who's a videographer for scientific proof of flat Earth, I think that's pretty sad. Go and ask science for proof of the ball because you've believed it for 2,000 years. And according to Rumpus, you've had the entire body of science backing it. So proof should be in abundance. You present it, and we'll scrutinise it. You don't need to assess my ability of assessment. You just need to present it.
Oh, we've proved it to ourselves quite happily. It's just you're the problem.
Yeah, you can present it and prove it to yourself. Well, you're entitled to your belief, Rumpus. You can believe what you like. Like Tim. I've got a lot of admiration for people who actually confess to the fact that they've got a belief. Good for you. You've proved it to yourself, have you, Rumpus? Good lad.
Well, no, the whole body of science has proved it.
Good lad, you believe. Yeah.
Sure.
But you don't understand.
So when they say the whole body of science, they're talking about geology, they're talking about astronomy, they're talking about many different professions
Yeah, and you do realise
that
all geology disputes everything with everybody. They can't agree with anybody on anything.
Rubbish.
Geology disputes with everybody on everything.
Hey, Dawn, how you doing?
Hello.
Hello.
I was just removed. I don't know why, but I'm back.
It's because I couldn't get to say hello to you, Dawn. Sorry. There's a lot of chatter.
So I changed the options to the right one, but I couldn't hear you guys either.
It's all good.
I've got a question for Nathan.
Go ahead.
Nathan, would you like scientific evidence of Earth curvature?
Yes.
No.
Nathan, would you like scientific evidence of Earth curvature?
Proof. Do you want to Google the word proof?
So it's not semantic, you dickhead.
Proof. Do you know what proof means?
You just said it was a semantic argument.
Actually, I'm with Ruhif on that one.
You stringing two words together, scientific proof, and then coming up with a Google search from Forbes that claims that proof isn't possible from science is utter nonsense.
Philosophical proof, which is
different. Oh, here we go. Now we're on to more semantics. I want proof. Earth curve's what we're talking about. Prove it. Then we'll test. Then we'll test your proof. And the standard that we'll test it with has a title. The title of the proof, the yardstick which will be applied to your proof, will be the scientific method. That is the yardstick that we will apply after it has been presented.
What yardstick? I missed that bit.
Scientific method, Rumpus.
You don't know what it is?
It doesn't matter what I know. What matters is if and when you ever present something which you haven't, we will look through it together. We can all scrutinise it. Potentially, we can replicate it and validate it too.
Or pretends to care has tried. We've given you different types, and we've asked you what type you want, and you won't specify, and you don't like what we give you.
You can give me whatever you like, Dawn. I think you'll find that you did present, Dawn. You presented a video yesterday. So what the hell are you talking about?
What happened yesterday?
You presented a video, and I asked you for the null hypothesis. Do you remember?
That's not part of the scientific method.
No, you asked me for a different term.
Rumpus is now defining what the scientific method is and
independent variable,
which is also not necessary either.
Yeah.
I'd like
I'll just point this out to the audience. So now we're into the rumpus, defining what isn't necessary in the scientific method, rather than providing something so that we can scrutinise it at our leisure, like he does when we present proof. Photos,
all we've got
images.
is photos and our word.
Okay, I've got some evidence.
We're not going to prove it to you.
I've got some evidence. Suppose evidence.
Let
I was present to you the angle elevation to the sun at various different latitudes, and I would say, here you are. Here's the evidence of people at different latitudes looking at Polaris. Would you accept that?
That's just an estimate in it to the sun.
Hold on, this experimental evidence. Would you accept that as evidence?
You present it.
It's just an estimate. No one knows how far the sun is.
So then we could then say, right, here's the evidence we've got. Right, we could make a null hypothesis.
An adherence to the scientific method, is it, Rumpus?
And then we could do then we could work out from there, do some calculations, and then say which one.
See, this is it. You see, every time I ask for a scientific proof of Earth curvature, I'm told what we can do going forward with an experiment that Rumpus comes up with. That is to say that in 2,000 years, you can't just put something on the table that they've done already that is a scientific proof that can be scrutinised with the yardstick of the scientific method. All we can do is something going forward.
Nathan, do you want Rumpus on a frozen lake for hundreds
of years?
Is that what you want, Nathan? Rumpus on a frozen lake with sticks?
How many times have I got to say the same thing? There has been a period of 2,000 years, plus 2,000 years plus, where people have apparently accepted that they live on a bloody sphere. Now, in that period, according to Rumpus, the entire body of science has backed this belief. I'm asking for the scientific proof that has been established to date for the assertion that the Earth is a sphere. That's what I am asking for. Okay. What have you got?
Nathan, hold on. Can we come to some conclusion? Hold on, Rumpus, real quick. Scientific proof. He keeps saying scientific proof. Please. Can we get to that? There is no scientific proof. Okay.
Yeah. I'll decide whether or not it's proof or not, and I'll decide whether or not it's science. After it's been presented, I'm not going to play a semantical game. Proof of Earth curve is what we're looking for. The yardstick that will be used to assess it will be the scientific method. Now, I'm going to call that scientific proof. You don't have to like it.
Nathan, would you expect to find
nobody
hold on, Dawn. I was in the middle of a sentence there. Hold on, Dawn. Hold on. Hold on, Dawn. Yeah. I was in the middle of a sentence. Yeah. Would you expect Nathan to be able to find in the scientific literature proof that 1 + 1 is equal to 2? Because
I don't care what I will find anywhere. All I care about is what you present to me as a claim of proof that the Earth is a sphere. You put it on the table, and I'll have a look at it. Let's not worry in advance about whether or not I'll understand it. Maybe I won't. I'm not claiming to be a genius, unlike PewDiePie, who's obviously a complete genius. I'm claiming that I have no scientific proof that I can scrutinise, or get help with scrutinisation. I have nothing from science to prove the Earth is a sphere, Rumpus.
We're just simple YouTubers,
seem
Nathan.
to want
Why
to
are you asking
concern
us to
yourself
provide
with whether or
evidence
not
of
I'll
Earth's curve?
understand what you haven't
that's
presented.
reasonable. I think it's reasonable for Nathan to ask us.
No, that's what he says about himself. He says, how dare you guys ask me to prove flat Earth?
No, we'll show him evidence, but not proof.
Why would I have scientific proof of flat Earth? I'm a videographer.
We say, but have you done it? You'll say, have you been there? Have you done it yourself? It's his second question. So you can't provide him proof.
No, he won't, though.
He will. He does it every time. Everybody says that you provide him with scientific evidence for something. He then says, but have you been there? Have you done it?
No.
Validated it. Have you validated it? Have you been there and done it? In other words, have you validated it?
Showing that you don't understand the scientific method yourself, what he will ask for is, who verified it? How was this proven to be true?
It's peer-reviewed. That's the whole point.
Forget peer review. That's not verification.
Correct.
You idiot. What other verification?
Idiot. Rumpus is just an idiot. Consensus opinion. You think that peer review validates anything? What a complete moron. Why are you even here? Do you even understand what peer review means, you moron?
They are repeated and verified.
No, they're not. No,
they're not.
Peer review,
Peer review does not repeat or verify
there are
anything.
several
You moron.
elements of peer review.
You're a
and one of
moron.
those includes
You're an idiot.
repeat-
You're a moron. You're a moron. You're a moron.
People do
You're a
repeat
moron.
experiments in
You're a
scientific
moron.
papers, and that
You're a
verifies
moron.
them.
You're an idiot.
That's how they do it.
You're an idiot.
It's not
You're an idiot.
validation.
So repeating it is not validation, you're saying?
Peer review is not validation.
As part of the peer review process, and is an overall process as regarded as validation. Oh dear. Is regarded the repetition is regarded as part of the scientific process.
Yeah,
that's not what he said. Peer review is not what the scientific process is, and nor is it the scientific method. You're saying that peer review means they replicate the experiments.
No, that's part.
Total
that's
nonsense.
Part of the peer review.
You're a
It's
moron,
general term
Rumpus,
for
and
the
he's
peer
just
review
had your
process.
toes to the fire, and now you're doubling down and saying it's something to do with the scientific
there are
process.
The peer review
Peer
process
review is what we're
elements.
talking about, you
One is when
moron.
you actually submit
Try
a
to keep
paper,
up with the
whether or not
conversation,
it
you
meets the
moron.
Rumpus, shut up. But then the scientific system comes and repeats it as well. And that's also regarded as being part of the peer review process.
No, that's not true.
That is true.
The peer review process.
You're telling me that scientific experiments are not repeated?
The peer review process
Now he's
does not
changing
repeat
it
the
to the scientific
experiment to validate.
process.
Are you claiming
Twisting his
experiments are not
words.
repeated?
Rumpus
in
thinks
the
he's
scientific
clever.
process?
He's not. He's a moron. Doesn't understand what the scientific process is. And at the moment, this little argument doesn't present proof of Earth curvature, scientific or otherwise. So all Rumpus is doing is having his little pathetic semantical arguments, talking non-stop, so he can obfuscate from the fact that he hasn't provided any proof of Earth curvature. And he never will, because there isn't any. The Earth hasn't got any proof of Earth curvature. There isn't any proof of Earth curvature, and in 100+ times of asking Rumpus for proof of Earth curvature, all he can do is talk constantly. That's all he can do, is obfuscate the point. That's all he's doing now, talking non-stop, while he obfuscates the question. There's no proof of Earth curvature, and Rumpus will never, ever, ever, ever provide any. He'll just get into semantical arguments, suggest that peer review does things it doesn't, lie, basically. He's just a liar. Claim he's been to space when he hasn't been. That's the kind of thing that this guy does. He's an obfuscator. He's a disruptor. The Rumpus, if you look it up as a definition, is a ruckus, a disruption. And that's all he is. He's only here to disrupt. Because he doesn't have proof of Earth curvature. The guy's a moron. Doesn't even understand what the peer review process is. So yeah, you're a moron, Rumpus. You don't deserve to be here. You're a complete and utter moron.
So when he
Stop
finishes,
rambling.
well, he shouldn't mute people.
Take a breath, guys.
Nathan just needs to hang out anyway.
That's retarded.
So anyway, Ruhif was trying to present some evidence, I thought, and
Yeah,
I would like to go into that ship thing,
We need
which
to have
Ranty
one
got
person
wrong.
Speaking, guys.
Yeah, Rumpus, why is it that
Yeah.
every time I start talking, you talk continually so no
No,
one in the hangout
you
can hear what
interrupt
I'm
me
saying?
within
You're doing
5
it
seconds
right
of me
now.
talking.
You're doing it right
You
now.
interrupt me all the time. If you go back and look at these videos, Nathan. You are very, very rude and obnoxious, and you like to interrupt me because you
When
don't
I
like the
talk,
information
you
I
don't get to
provide. You
talk.
think the
That's-
best
I've
way
already
of
explained
hiding
that.
from it is to censor me.
What you do, though, is you continually talk while I talk so that people in the hangout don't get to hear what I'm saying, because all they can hear is you talking over me. I
Yeah,
try
you
and
just did it
combat
to
that.
him, Nathan, too.
You
I
interrupt
try
me
and
within
combat
5
that by
seconds of me starting
muting
a
you
sentence.
while I'm
You've both
talking.
done it to each other.
If you can't conduct yourself in a civilized manner, Nathan, then other people won't.
I am civilized. I'm
No,
calling
you're
you a
not. You're very
moron
rude
because
and
you are a
obnoxious. I think
moron.
everybody who watches
You're
this is
That's
very
conflating.
not
rude.
civilized, Nathan. That's nowhere near civilized.
You're conflating the scientific process with peer review.
Yes, correct.
There are several elements to peer review.
Sorry, moron. That's what you're doing. You've had your toes to the
If
fire.
you remember,
now,
I was the one who introduced.
now
the
you're doing it
term
again,
scientific
Rumpus. You seem to be
process.
talking over me. Can you shut
Okay,
your mouth
sorry,
for a
I didn't
moment,
mean
please,
to. It
Rumpus?
started. I didn't mean to. Carry on.
No, you didn't mean to.
Yeah,
but you
he's
did it
held
every
your
time.
toes to the fire because you've conflated two different things together.
Right, can I now answer
And
without
before I've
interruption?
even finished my
No, no, no.
sentence,
Okay,
you've
right,
got
sorry, carry
verbal
on.
diarrhea.
Okay, carry on.
Yeah, it's all right, Rumpus. Don't tell me to carry on. I'm telling the audience while I've got you on mute because you talk continually whenever your toes are to the fire. Rather than accepting the fact that
You
you're
let me
conflating
answer.
two different... You're doing it now, Rumpus. Can't control
me
yourself. I think you need a bit of help.
Are you going to let me answer?
No, I'm not going to let you do anything. I'm trying to point out to the audience that when I take you off mute, you're continually talking, so the
Because you keep interrupting
hangout
me.
can't hear what I'm saying. And then
You
when I
can't
take
conduct
you off
yourself in a
mute,
civilized manner.
you claim, like you're doing now, talking over me, Rumpus.
Nathan,
Well,
this
let
is
me
what
answer
Dell
then.
does.
No, I'm not. I'm going to get to the end
This
of
is
my
what
sentence.
Dell does.
It might take more than a few seconds, Rumpus. And you might feel compelled to interrupt me. But that's irrelevant. Unfortunately, this is my show. And if you feel the necessity to stop everyone in the Hangout from hearing me also, that's incredibly rude. It means that you only want to be the one speaking.
Conduct yourself in a more civilized manner.
Yeah, you're talking over me so the Hangout can't hear what's being said.
Only when you interrupt me.
Yeah, I'll interrupt you when I like. That's what happens in conversation.
That's the problem.
No, but I agree with Nathan interrupting.
You censor challenging information. You censor the reality from yourself. You think you can hide from reality, but you can't.
Right, and you're censoring people being able to hear what's being said,
Rumpus. With a scientific method.
You didn't know what peer review was. You didn't know what peer review was until a week ago. I explained it to you, Anthony. So you're in no position to explain it to me.
But you don't know anything about it.
And I mentioned what the difference between the scientific process.
Correct. You are conflated two different terms and passing them off as both the same, and that's nonsense.
Peer review includes...
He's correct to interrupt you.
Right. When do you think peer review happens? Do you think it just
after the event?
After the event of what?
Whatever it is, the scientific thing. What was?
You've no idea what you're talking about.
Now you're doing a different trick. So because he's stumbled over one word, you're immediately talking over him, Rumpus. That's what you're doing. So get a grip and try and listen to what's being said. Yeah? All you're doing is obfuscating a simple request. We would like you to present us with scientific proof of Earth curvature.
You use that phrase again.
Yeah, unfortunately, as has been explained to you by Tim and Ruhif, there's no such thing as scientific proof.
Yes. Well, we will be the judge of whether or not what you present proves Earth is a sphere and whether or not it conforms to the scientific method. Your little tricks with bandying words together and doing Google searches on them won't change what we're asking for. Prove the Earth is a sphere, Rumpus.
Nathan,
I will.
We're
but
just
you
simple
don't understand
YouTubers.
the scientific method that would provide you with that proof. You don't understand how to prove something.
Well, there is no proof because scientific proof can't be achieved by science. You guys.
That's actually well done, Anthony. You actually got that right. Yes, that's correct.
Right. So there is no scientific proof of Earth curve, correct?
Because we can't actually prove anything. We can't.
Who cares why? You
hold
can't.
on, you just yeah, hold on. But because we can't prove we're not a brain in a vat, for instance, you could be a brain in a vat for all we know. We all could all be that.
Rumpus,
so therefore,
let me just interrupt you and just repeat his question. I'll phrase it as an as-or question. Or
you can bring evidence, Nathan, lots of it, but
Dawn,
you won't accept
can you keep
it.
your mouth shut a minute while I ask a direct question
Evidence
to Rumpus?
that everyone else in the world has accepted.
Is there or is there not scientific proof of Earth curvature?
You can call it proof if you like, Nathan. I don't mind which word you use.
Well, proof doesn't exist according
Nobody
to
answered
what do you ask for
Rumpus.
scientific
Use which
evidence,
word you
Nathan?
want. I don't care.
Nathan, why do you ask for scientific evidence? That might help. That everybody move. Let's move on from this particular debate.
Rumpus, is there or is there not scientific proof of Earth curvature?
No, Nathan. Sorry, not for
Dawn,
you.
shut up or I will eject you.
Do it, mate. I don't care.
Let him answer the question.
Right. Because science can't prove anything, then no, there is no scientific proof.
No scientific proof of what?
Earth curvature.
So there is no scientific proof of Earth curvature.
Because I can't prove you're not a brain in a vat and we're not in any world at all.
Sorry, let's try and keep on track, Rumpus.
No, you can't.
Let's try and keep on track.
Go on, prove that. Can prove that, Anthony.
I can prove that Nathan is not a brain in a vat.
Go on then.
You want me to give you a video showing that Nathan is not a brain in a vat? Do you understand what a brain in a vat is?
Yes, we could all be brains in vats.
Right, but I can prove what a brain in a vat looks like.
No,
and Nathan does not look like that, and I've got evidence to prove that he is not a brain in a vat.
No, but you could also be. Yeah, but we could all be brains in vats, Anthony.
No,
we
because we don't know what brains in vats look like.
So literally, we've gone from an admission that Rumpus cannot provide scientific proof of Earth curvature, something which he has claimed to have provided already, and said that he has provided 7 documents that are scientific proof of Earth curvature. He has now conceded there is no scientific proof of Earth curvature, and the next thing he's doing is claiming that we could all be brains in vats.
You missed the claim from Anthony there, by the way.
Well, as soon as you admit that you can't really prove your model, you have to go to solipsism and prove, yeah, well, we could all be in a giant simulation and not even know it.
Absolutely correct, Darwin. Straight to solipsism, if I could actually get my tongue around it. Straight to solipsism. Yeah, so we're all in the bloody Matrix, are we, dickhead?
No, that's what proof has to. You're being a dickhead. If you don't understand the point.
We're all brains in vats. That is the Matrix, you dickhead.
You're the stupid dickhead if you don't understand my point.
Yeah, I understand your point. We could all be brains in vats. That was your point. I understand it. Unlike you, Rumpus, I am not retarded.
No, you don't.
We could all be brains in vats.
I've just demonstrated you can't have proof. And then now you're saying, oh, well, I want proof. I've just demonstrated you can't have proof.
Yeah, right, okay. Well, we can't prove we're not in bloody vats. That's your
correct.
Best
yes,
bloody...
way. Well done.
Wow, Rumpus, wow. Well, we could all be in the Matrix, but I've got 2 feet firmly on flat Earth. And there's no scientific proof of Earth curvature, yet this religious zealot comes along and asserts that it's curved anyway, because he's got a religious belief.
I've got pictures of that boat, and I can show you how it conforms to the curvature of the Earth.
Wow, you've got no proof.
Was completely wrong, as I
got pictures
no
of the Matrix.
Proof, have you,
saw
Rumpus?
it in a movie once.
But Ranty was wrong again.
I've got no proof, though, have you, Rumpus? You can't prove it, can you, Rumpus?
Well, if we're prepared, you can do it if you're prepared to accept.
Yeah, well, we can do it if we just ignore science. Yeah, that's a shame for you, isn't it? You can just claim that science doesn't prove anything. The most pathetic argument you've ever come up with. So you've come up against a brick wall, we've held your toes to the fire, you've conceded it, and then basically said we all live in the bloody Matrix. That is the most pathetic thing I've ever seen a Glober do. How unbelievably sad.
Right, can I just say... At the request of Ryan Hoff, Rumpus has been removed because he completely ruins the conversation every time he comes in. Unless that's going to be stopped.
Ryan Hoff runs the show.
Ryan Hoff runs the show. Ryan Hoff made that decision. Rumpus had to go. Now, let's talk about the brains in the vat.
Hang on.
How do we stop that?
Yeah, how do we get this guy out?
What's
David
the noise,
Black,
Nathan? I can't work out what's happening.
It's David Black joining and leaving without being kicked, I think.
So he's joining to... Ah, right, okay. So
yeah, to play like half a second of music and then leave.
So do you agree with the Rumpus? We could all just be in the Matrix, right?
No, I just want to address...
Anthony said he could prove it. Anthony said he could prove it.
No. Yeah, let's deal with the brain in the vat. So application window should be this one. Nath, could you present me and let me know...
Why did Rumpus get kicked?
Because Ryan Hoff said that he needed to remove him.
Who the hell's Ryan Hoff?
I don't know. John?
Hello, John.
Hey, it's me.
Hey, good to have you.
Hello. Right, Nathan, are we presenting?
We are presented.
Right, so we have here we have on screen a depiction of a brain in a vat. Is there any discrepancy or problem with the brain in the vat, Ruhif?
What do you mean problem? It's a picture of a brain in a vat. Yeah, sure.
And I've made the claim that I can prove that Nathan is not a brain in the vat.
Okay.
Do you see a mouth on the brain?
No. You're just being fed into your brain images of Nathan having a mouth.
No, I can prove that Nathan is a human being with a mouth, beak.
No, you're just being fed that through your senses.
Yeah, but I can prove that he's a human being with a mouth and can speak.
No, you're just being fed
on the image.
You're just being fed the audio and the visuals through your little port in the back of your head.
So you think Nathan's a fictitious creature?
You're trying to prove that Nathan is not a brain in a vat. You cannot do it.
Do you see a mouth on the brain?
Hold on, Ruhif's made a good point. You can't do it, Anthony. Just like they can't prove the Earth is a sphere. That's why we're doing this. So the reason we're on this tangent... The reason that not Ruhif, sorry, I won't put this at your door. You're not as moronic as the Rumpus. The reason the Rumpus has moronically taken us down this road is because this is akin to Earth curve. We can't prove we're not in the Matrix, and we can't prove Earth curve. The two are akin. They're like little brothers in a pot. Being in the Matrix and Earth curve, they're basically the same thing.
Nathan, let me deal with what you just said. You said that Ruhif's point is that I cannot prove that you're not a brain in a vat. But what I can do is present the evidence to support the assertion that he is not a brain in a vat.
I can present evidence.
And then other people can make their mind up whether it's reasonable to think that evidence might be true.
Yes.
So Nathan has a mouth that makes noises. Brains don't have a mouth that make noises.
Yes.
Therefore, Nathan cannot be a brain in a vat.
Right, and NASA have pictures of Earth from space, and those pictures have Earth curve. Therefore, the Earth is curved. It's the same exact argument. Earth curve and being in the matrix are basically the same thing. You can't prove we have a curve to Earth's surface, and you can't prove we live in the matrix. So that's how pathetic the Earth curve argument is. It's akin to trying to prove you live in the matrix. That's what Earth curve is in terms of how easy it is to prove that you have a sphericity to the surface you stand on. Now, if we did actually stand on a sphere, it would be easy to prove it. It isn't, because it's false. We live on a flat plane.
Would you like a retort to that one?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, Nathan just said it was easy to prove that it's a sphere. It is not, because there is no such thing as a scientific proof.
No.
There are things like physical indications. If you trust your senses and the
We've got a new guest, Darwin. Just one sec.
Ruhif.
Yeah.
Hi there. How are you? So there is no scientific proof of anything, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah, you can't prove we're not a brain like that.
Let's go through a couple. So water boils at 212 degrees Fahrenheit at sea level.
No, you can't prove that.
Can't prove
Combustion
next time you do it,
the result
next time you boil it,
oxidation reactions, Ruhif. Ruhif, can you give me a chance here? I'm going to go through.
Next time you boil it, it'll be at 213 degrees.
Okay? Combustion is the result of oxidation reactions. The lack of insulin with type 1 diabetes leads to diabetic ketoacidosis. Boy, we're not proving anything here. The lack of vitamin C intake in humans causes scurvy. Knowledge of the which path information collapses the wave function, Ruhif. Information is only created by intelligent agency. Photons, electrons, neutrons, protons are all particles. Ice cream is made from cream, milk, sugar, eggs, with stabilizers and emulsifiers, then frozen. Light is caused by electrons. Light is caused by electrons dropping down energy levels within an atom. Would you like me to go on for about the next 25 years?
No, I'd like you to make your point. What's your point?
That we have scientific evidence.
Yes. Yes, we do. Thank you.
Through the scientific method.
Sure.
Okay, you said we didn't.
No, I said we do not have scientific proof.
Proof is evidence, sir.
No, Nathan.
Hey, Nathan.
Explicitly made a difference between those two.
Nathan, can you share my screen for a second?
Sure.
1 second.
Nathan made an explicit distinction between those two words.
I didn't.
Well, he then accused me of being semantic. Oh, is this quantum eraser? Fuck. Oh man.
Oh, really? Well, feigned exasperations aren't coherent arguments or positions, sir. You're through. You're finished.
Okay.
You don't even know what proof and evidence is. What are you even doing here? Look, is my screen sharing?
Yeah, I can see it.
Evidence from Merriam-Webster, an outward sign, indication, something that furnishes proof, right? Proof synonyms. You see this? Do you see these guys? You know what a synonym is?
Yeah, Nathan, is proof a synonym for evidence?
Right? Are you seeing all this? And then where'd the rumpus go?
I want to know if Nathan thinks proof is a synonym for evidence.
Here is scientific evidence right here. Do you see this? From the Law Dictionary. The testing of a hypothesis or theory that is objective in a controlled environment. Any questions there?
I would disagree that it has to be in a controlled environment. Like as controlled as you can make it.
You disagree with the actual definition. You got a little Dunning-Kruger going on.
From that Law Dictionary, sure.
Yeah, sure. Well, it just gives it to you right there.
Yeah.
Right?
Nathan,
what is the goal of every single scientific inquiry, Ruhif? What are we doing?
Validate or invalidate a model. That's what I think.
A model? A model's a model's not a hypothesis.
A model or a hypothesis.
No. Models are pseudoscience, Ruhif.
Well, according to you, and you're a fucking
No,
idiot.
no. According to. Wait a second. Are you still there?
Yeah, he's still there.
Yeah.
According to me, do you want me to cite something?
Oh, I'd love that Rochester link. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's right in Rochester. It's a limitation on its validity. You can't have a hypothesis with limitation on its validity, can you? Then it's not a hypothesis. That's like it's something, a limitation on its validity. That's like being a little pregnant. I mean, that makes no sense. The whole goal of scientific inquiry is experiment, right? Let's go through them. The scientific method distinguishes science from other forms of explanation because of its requirement for systematic experimentation. The final arbiter of truth in science is experiment. From Richard Feynman, if it doesn't agree with experiment, it's wrong. In that statement, simple statement, is the key to science. From Max Planck, experiment is the only means of knowledge at our disposal. Everything else is poetry, imagination. And the rumpus, we don't require hypotheses or independent variables in science. Well, the scientific method requires that a hypothesis be ruled out or modified. What's a hypothesis doing in here? What the heck is that?
What's that link? What's the link at the bottom of that page?
That is the University of Rochester. Okay. Physics department.
Yep.
Right? Is that good enough for you? Penn's experiment.
Absolutely.
Okay, what?
Let's look at that page.
What is an experiment? Yeah, we will. Hold on a second. Why do we have to look at the page? I just provided us a citation.
I want you to tell me how many times the term independent variable, null hypothesis, and alternate hypothesis appears on that page.
Well, sir, you see, when they say hypothesis, they already assume you know what it is. You don't know what an independent variable is?
I do.
What is it?
It's what you change to basically demonstrate the cause and effect.
Oh, that was a quick save. All right. In an experiment, the independent variable, is the variable that is varied or manipulated by the researcher, right? The independent variable is the presumed cause, whereas the dependent variable is the presumed effect, right? That's a hypothesis. A hypothesis test is an experiment, right? So what are we talking about here? In an experiment from Penn State.
You're doing the talking. I'm not really listening.
Yeah, from Penn State. In an experiment, Ruhif, there should be three categories of.
G'day, Ruhif. How are you, mate?
Not bad.
Oh, we
G'day,
just can't
Consumer
do this point.
I'm not really listening to you.
Before you start chatting,
yeah, of course you won't.
We're getting to the
because you stick your fingers in the air.
Quantum Eraser.
Over again, right? That works.
Excuse me.
Explain something here. Experiment from Penn State. There should be three categories of variables in every experiment. What are the three?
Excuse me.
Yeah, go was.
Yeah.
I was just wondering, is Quantum Eraser a flat earther or just a?
Yes, he is.
Talker.
Well, hold on, was. So the point that you've asked, right, is where in the Rochester paper does it ask for a dependent or an independent variable? And it's pointing out that Penn State define what an experiment is as having a dependent and independent variable.
I mean, you can't have an experiment without these guys, right?
So what's your response to that? You're trying to hold me to the wall on this stuff, and I said, I don't know. You know, I'm a videographer, Ruhif, right? So yeah,
So
I have to get help.
My question to you was whether you think proof and evidence are synonyms.
I just showed you.
No, I'm asking Nathan. Does Nathan
Why would
think
you need
proof
to
and
ask
evidence are
Nathan
synonyms?
when I just showed you?
I'm not
Want
speaking
me
to you,
show
John.
you again?
No, Nathan answer the
Call
question.
me names, right?
He knows that I'm.
Why don't we talk about your fairy tale evolution?
We can do that.
Why don't you define? Yeah, let's do it right now. Why don't you define your fairy tale for us? Give me the scientific theory of evolution right now. Go.
No, my thing is to demonstrate common descent.
Common
And I probably
what's
actually need
common
some,
descent?
That we all share a common ancestor.
I'll tell you what. Hey, Nathan, can you let Ruhif share his screen right now? I'll go ahead and go off. And I want him to post the scientific theory of evolution.
I would like to compare a little discussion. Just got background noise
Was
there.
you're breaking up?
Yeah, sorry.
So
I
am I
actually like
stopped?
to prepare a little. Sorry?
Would you like to prepare a little? You can't give me right now the scientific theory of evolution. Have I stopped sharing, Nathan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got
You
room
have.
for
All right. Thank you.
I can give you, with a bit of preparation, I can give you my explanation of why common descent is a fact.
Common descent. And what is that evolution?
It's common descent, that we share a common ancestor.
Okay, you going to provide the experiment?
I will explain why I think
No, I
it's
need an
well beyond a
no.
reason.
No.
Rue, if we
I
have a
want
common
scientific
human ancestor,
evidence.
perhaps, but
Now, hold on a second. Hold on a second.
It includes citation of a empirical experiment. Yes.
No, empirical experiment. That's kind of redundant, don't you think?
Well, as in not a historical experiment, but an
experiment.
A modern day experiment, rather than
An
sort
experiment.
of inferring stuff in the past.
Outstanding. So we'll give you some time to prepare. When do you want to prepare? When do we want to have this?
I don't know. In a couple of days.
Couple of days. Unbelievable. Okay, Ruhif, I'll tell you what. I'll give you 10 years. How about that?
Sure.
I want scientific evidence of evolution. I want to see the theory. You know, the real scientific theory. You know, there's a definition for those two. You know that, right?
And as I said, I will give you why I think common descent is beyond a reasonable doubt.
I want you to provide scientific evidence of evolution, and I want you to provide scientific evidence of your common descent fairy tale.
I'm telling you what I'll give you. Whether it matches your description of evolution or whatever,
You're not,
that's up to
sir,
you.
I'll tell you what, you're not going to get within 2 minutes without rolling out of here with that just pump the neighbor's cat look on your face, I'm going to tell you.
What was that? I just fucked the neighbor's cat.
No.
Yeah. That's as long as you're going to make it.
Well, I don't think that the theory of evolution and common descent are pretty much the same thing. As
So you
there
do
may
it, do
be
it, you don't.
indication that we are commonly descended from a certain group of humans, but doesn't prove that we were once other species.
We're going, Ruhif.
That is what I demonstrate, yes. The common descent is beyond
Let's put
reasonable
the
doubt.
date down. Do we want to do it on? Let's do it on this channel. Let's go with.
I've already offered to Nathan to do it on this channel.
Outstanding. So it'll just be me and you, right?
Sure.
I can't wait.
Awesome.
It's going to be a pleasure. Anything else you want to add, Ruhif? Do you want to go start now?
No, I made some notes actually on the hangout last night. Where are they? Hold on.
Oh, the hangout last night with who?
Where are we? With Mark Doxey, Anthony, Owen,
Brenda.
Who else? Oh, here we go. Anthony. That's fine. So Anthony, at about the hour and 10 mark, said that you can't measure centrifugal force. He's on mute though, isn't he? There we go.
No, I mean, I'm listening. I said that you can't measure centrifugal force on the Earth, correct?
Yeah. That's what you said, correct? Yes.
Yeah.
And you can.
Evidence, please.
Wolfie's videos where he calibrates a set of scales.
Wolfie's video.
No, let me.
I fucking quantum erase this video.
Whoa,
Dickhead.
stop. Let me have this.
Okay.
Not
Okay. I'll go on.
So the evidence is what? Wolfie's video what?
Where he calibrates scales at one latitude with a what are they called? The standard weight. So he calibrates at a certain latitude. He travels to a higher latitude, I think, or a lower latitude. Travels to a different latitude, and the weight changes. He also travels on a plane and demonstrates the Etvos effect, which I thought was pretty cool.
All right. So the Etvos effect, which is what you're demonstrating right now, yeah? Your claim is that the Etvos effect proves centrifugal force.
Proves, using that proves word again, it's consistent with the Earth spinning, yes.
Is there a problem with the word proves in this context? I mean, I'm not being semantical, but your claim is that the Etvos effect proves or shows the rotation of the Earth, correct?
I want to get that pegged down to, sorry, if I need to eat humble pie here, I don't mind doing it, I'll do it right now. What's wrong with asking for proof of things?
No,
like
actually,
I said,
Nathan,
proof can only get mathematical or logical proof.
No, I'm objecting. Nathan, you don't need to apologize at this point. We're trying to deal with the claim that centrifugal force is demonstrated by the Etvos effect, correct?
Seems
Yeah,
pretty
and
silly
by
to me
weight
that
at different latitudes.
Wait a sec, Al.
different height would.
Wait a sec. So, what was the answer to the question, Ruhif? I asked the question. It seems that centrifugal force is demonstrated by the Eötvös effect, correct?
The observations that Wolfie made, and you could make and I could make, are consistent with the Earth spinning.
Right. So that's the claim.
The
So we've
Eötvös
established that that's
Yep.
the claim. Do
Yes,
you agree?
the observations are consistent. Yep.
Do you agree with a straight yes or a straight no that the Eötvös effect that you're describing is subject to the Birkeland's currents? Yes or no?
Do I think that? Magnetism is not my strong suit. I'm going to say no, and I can have a stab at why, if you want me to.
Yeah, please do, because the Eötvös effect is subject to the Birkeland currents. So if you got a way out of that, let's hear it.
Be careful there, though, because you've just asserted that it does, right?
Yeah. Do you understand what the
not
Birkeland
sure.
currents are?
Very vaguely. Very vaguely. Yeah, pretty vaguely.
Right. So we're gonna need to see an example here. Nathan, could you present my screen so that we can get everybody up to the same position?
Oh, we've got about 3 minutes left, just so you know.
All right. So
1 o'clock.
Can you see my screen, guys?
Yeah.
Yes, I can.
The Birkeland currents are, let's find, are we on images? Birkeland currents are electromagnetic vertical vortexes that are emanated from the Earth.
Vertical, yes. So running, you mean running north-south, right?
Your entire screen is presented, not just the window.
Oh, okay. Is that better?
That's better.
Yeah. Do you mean north-south, right? They run north-south, and then they come off in that top left photo, that one, the orange sheets.
Yeah. The Birkeland currents are an electromagnetic effect that we observe that is directly going to influence metallic objects that are in planes that are flying around the Earth, particularly towards the southern pole, because Australia is down towards the southern area.
But how do we demonstrate this effect on the ground away from the poles? Like I'm at 34 degrees or something south. How do we demonstrate the effect of that where I am on the ground?
Well, that's what the Eötvös effect. The way that Wolfie's demonstrated the Eötvös effect, he's actually demonstrating the Birkeland currents. The only way that the Eötvös effect would be credible, the way that Wolfie's done it, would be to isolate the effects of the Birkeland currents and put that weight inside a lead-lined box. Then it wouldn't be getting subject to magnetism.
And with that, I'm going to say first and foremost, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the debating panel for joining and making this debate possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully for sharing this debate. If you've not done so already, be sure to like, comment, share and subscribe. I've been Nathan Oakley and I will see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!